All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of O365Eh. Today's episode, we're going to be covering new announcements for Microsoft 365. And I'm going to ask Curtis to lead us out.
Thanks, Habib. So, Microsoft announced essentially new SKUs for Office 365 tailored for small businesses. And this is geared to businesses that have less than 300 employees. So you get 300 licenses of these new SKUs. And one of the first things to understand is all the parent SKUs for Office 365 right now, there's basically three. There's the business SKUs, the enterprise SKUs, and the educational SKUs. The Microsoft 365 Business, it has a couple of SKUs for each of those categories. And looking at the differences, it's probably best to think of these new Microsoft 365 Business SKUs as bundles. And in particular, what you get is a lot of the security features like Azure Information Protection, advanced threat protection, and advanced threat analytics that are only accessible in the higher enterprise SKUs. So these are now available in bundles tailored for the small businesses, which is really, really great because it allows smaller businesses to take advantage of the higher level security feature sets, which are normally higher priced than the enterprise SKUs. So that's the sort of high level. The other sort of advantage is when you license through the new 365 business SKUs, you get a new admin portal. And those viewers who are familiar with the old small business server offering in the Microsoft on-prem server world years ago, it's the same concept where you get a unified admin portal which unifies all the different individual admin portals that exist today in Office 365. So you don't have to go to a separate admin portal for Azure AD to administer directory information for users, or go to a separate portal to administer the Exchange mailbox information for users. It's all bundled into one, which is really nice. So, Michael, can you tell us more about some of the feature differences between like this new 365 business SKU and like Microsoft E3, for example?
Yeah, so if you take the Microsoft 365 Business and you compare it to that, the standalone enterprise, the E3 SKU, which, both are that $20 per or $20 USD per month per user. If you take those two and compare them, the Microsoft 365 Business adds, that additional advanced security functionality that, Curtis was mentioning. It also includes Windows. So if you take a look at that, some of these features were add-ons for the E3s. And so things like Office 365 threat protection, Windows exploit guard, data loss prevention, Azure information protection. You also get access to the compliance dashboard, which is a powerful tool if you fall under GDPR. You get Intune, you get simplified Windows deployment using Autopilot. You get upgrade rights for Windows 10 if you have Windows 7, 8, 8.1 Pro. You get BitLocker. You get some other tools that aren't really meant for the enterprise, like Outlook, Customer Manager, some functionality around bookings. But although all this functionality is kind of in the Microsoft 365 Business SKU, today they're not auto-enabled. So you still have to go into the individual product admin centers. That is changing. Microsoft's future plan is to have them all enabled in that single management console. That's sort of like the SMB product before. Some of the stuff that's missing from the business M365 Business compared to an E3 is Stream. The business SKUs don't have on-premises server use rights. So if you had an Exchange on-premises server or SharePoint, you now can't port those licenses back for those users that still are on-premises. You don't get any of the business intelligence or My Analytics. The Exchange online mailbox is limited to 50 gigabytes, whereas the E3 is 100 gigabytes. You do get with the business SKU 100 gigabytes on the archive side and policy controls, just not on the main size mailbox. OneDrive for Business under the M365 Business SKU is limited to 1 terabyte, whereas under an E3 is unlimited. And then obviously with the E3, you get Office 365 Pro Plus, whereas the Office 365 Business, you get Office 365 Business. So there's some differences there. I think Dino will be talking about that. And then under about the 300 users, so the SKU is locked down to 300 or less. So when you go to enable the 301st user, you're not able to leverage that M365 Business. You now have to go to an E3 SKU or a M365 E3 SKU to kind of get some of that functionality, which means your licensing model will change when you pass that 300 user mark. So now you might have to have some add-ons or kind of mix and match some of your license SKUs to achieve the same licensing that you had before with the 300 users. They can coexist, so you don't have to relicense the original 300 users. You just know that once you cross that threshold, there's going to be some differences.
Awesome. So, I mean, from my perspective, when looking to compare the current Office 365 Business Premium Edition, so if you have the lower end of the licensing Microsoft licensing model, going to a Microsoft 365 Business is a significant amount of feature set that you're getting for I would say a decent amount price increase, right? So there's really a difference between roughly around $7.50 as a business premium is $12.50 and the Microsoft 365 is $20. And as Michael was talking about, a lot of the new feature sets that included sort of between the differences, I guess the difference between them is more around security and device management. From a business premium perspective. So you're getting those additional settings like, Windows Autopilot, automatic Office installations, in tune with MDM device management. You get the Windows upgrade license to Windows 10 from a Windows 7 or Windows 8. So if you're a business that, is currently still running on, Windows 7 or Windows 8 licensing from desktop or laptops that you purchased, you have the ability to now upgrade to a Windows 10 Professional, which is included in your M365 licensing, right? So in addition to that, right, so from a security perspective, you get the advanced information protection, advanced threat protection, Intune app protection, along with some of the additional mail litigation, archiving, data loss prevention, litigation hold, e-discovery functionality from an Exchange perspective. So for additional amount more per month per user, you're getting a significant value when it comes to security of your business, in the management of your business, especially when you're getting upwards around the 300 users. It's definitely something to look at from that perspective if you're from a small business perspective, right? And I think it's really in comparison to what the old small business server used to be as to sort of what it is it's looking to be right now. So Dino, why don't you let us know about this?
Yeah, for sure. So from a client comparison, looking at 365 Business and Office 365 Pro Plus, starting off at the application layer, basically they're going to be the same. So from, the standard apps that you get, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, Outlook, Publisher, Access, and Skype for Business, those are all identical between 365 Pro Plus and Office 365 Business. When we get into the premium value items, there's a bit of differences here. So Office 365 Business, in terms of group policy, shared computer activation, and app telemetry and update controls, you're lacking that functionality that you would get in the Office 365 Pro Plus. So a bit of difference there. As well, a spreadsheet compare and inquire and business intelligence is not included in the 365 business in terms of the premium value features. Moving into sort of the cloud-related features and functionalities, those are going to be identical. So things like groups, the Office deployment tool, roaming documents and settings, and OneDrive for Business, the 1 terabyte of storage, those are identical between the two suites. And then same for the licensing model. Both are identical. They're both per user subscription in terms of the licensing. PC and Mac installs are going to be are 5 licenses included. iOS and Android smartphone installs, both subscriptions include 5 licenses as well. And then both suites include Office commercial rights, online web apps, and commercial usage rights. So some similar functionality there. One thing to note that right now there's no DLP protection in Office 365 Business. And my understanding is that DLP is going to be coming this summer. It's a feature that they are looking to add. So not yet initially available, but something that will be coming this summer.
Good stuff. Yeah, and if I understand it right, it's the clients that come with Microsoft 365 Business don't support the DLP feature. It might be available on the server side up at the cloud, but the clients don't respect it.
Right.
Until maybe this summer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically they're retooling that business client. So before, all the enterprise functionality was stripped out, and now with this new offering, they're slipping in the DLP, rights management, and even the advanced threat protection, whereas those weren't available in that client at all before.
Right. So what do you guys think? I mean, this is yet more licensing in the cloud. As we were talking before we started this call, it's getting a little complex. You now have essentially new SKUs for everything. It's the Microsoft 365. Now you have like a Microsoft 365 E3 SKU, which is different from the basic E3 SKU. What do you think? Think it's worth introducing these new SKUs?
I think some businesses that were maybe running for E3 for years and maybe are, that sub 200 range, there could be some potential savings here. There could be, some additional functionality for the same cost. Now that you're getting your Windows included, you're getting some of this advanced threat protection that you had to pay for an add-on before, where, that's kind of where I was seeing the E3 was getting that ATP add-on SKU, and then they were buying Windows as separate, right? Now you can get all that for the same price you were getting that original E3. So I think I could see some of the opposite, the E3 organizations maybe that were smaller user counts flipping over to this.
Yeah, I mean, I see it from a even smaller business perspective, where they're going to be coming up to the M365 versus, like what Michael was saying, coming down, right? So if they're a smaller company and they're paying, the business premium amount, they'll likely looking into purchasing the M365 in order to take, advantage of a lot of the new feature sets that you get, right? I mean, just the Windows installation in itself, to me, is a huge upgrade that they packaged in there.
Yeah, and one thing that's included is the Azure Information Protection, and that includes all the feature set to like tag and sensitive content and treat sensitive content appropriately. So just because you're a small business doesn't mean you don't have needs around data loss prevention and sensitive data and protecting it. So I see this as a real enabler for businesses sub 300 seats that they can now get these advanced features in the cloud for a reasonable price.
Especially the GDPR.
Yeah, you get the dashboard, right? Yeah. Now, interesting though, we're talking too before the call. So I get licensed for 300. I hit the 300. Now, employee number 301, they'll have to consume a different type of license, maybe like an E3. And we think what will happen too is now to administer that number 301, you have to go to the full-blown admin portal, which includes the different admin portals for the different workloads. So that you have to think about that. And I think our takeaway was if you're approaching the 300, if you're maybe at 270, for example, you're going to grow, might not be worth it.
Yeah, especially as they advance that single management console, they're going to make it pretty easy for organizations to manage those 300 users, and then all of a sudden they hit that threshold and they're being sucked back into all the other portals for all the products.
Yeah.
I think there's certainly opportunities for customers to reach out to your partners and ask them for some guidance, and I'm sure Microsoft will be providing some more support around understanding and making sense of all this licensing, because certainly I can see that there's going to be a lot of confusion out there for sure. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the partners will definitely help in the transitioning from whether you're going to be going up and down from a licensing perspective, if you're going down from an E3 to an M365. Maybe I shouldn't say down, but maybe across.
Sure.
65.
Yeah, especially if you don't have to have on-premises use rights, or you don't have to have like shared activations in like an RDS type server role.
If you're a cloud-based company, right, you might as well just keep, if everything is still there, then you may just make a lateral move to the M365.
And one final note, I see it on a chart here just because it's near and dear our hearts. Voice, so like PSTN conferencing and cloud PBX, which is now phone system capabilities. None of that's included in the new Microsoft 365 SKUs. So you still have to, well, actually it is. It's available in the Microsoft 365 E5 SKU, but not in any of the small business.
That's right. Yeah.
Plans, yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. And thank you, everybody, for listening in. And hopefully we'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you.
Thanks. Sure. See ya.